Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am thrilled to guide you through this rapid, highly structured breakdown of the female external genitalia. If you're a focused learner gearing up for anatomy exams, you are in exactly the right place today. We're going to build a really clear spatial map in your mind right now so you can ace those high-yield questions without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, let's dive right into this by clearing up one of the most common anatomical misconceptions out there. Did you know that the collective external female reproductive organs are actually called the vulva and not the vagina? I know, it sounds basic, but it's a foundational distinction that trips up a surprising number of students right out of the gate.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we need to separate in our minds for the exam. The vulva encompasses all the external female reproductive organs, the whole shebang on the outside, whereas the vagina specifically refers to the internal entrance and canal. Getting this terminology totally locked down is your very first step to success.
So here is our game plan for today's explainer. First, setting the record straight. 2, the upper structures. 3, folds and openings. And 4, functions and support. Let's map this out.
All right, Section 1, setting the record straight, focusing on our foundational terms. So, the vulva. This is the proper, exact anatomical term for the external female reproductive organs. And, in medicine and anatomy, precision is absolutely everything. Nailing down this exact terminology is the key to mastering those high-yield medical notes. So whenever your exam asks about the external structures collectively, you are looking for that word, vulva. Moving on to Section 2, the upper structures, specifically looking at the anterior anatomy. Starting right at the very top, we find the mons pubis. Think of this as a fatty pad located at the most superior aspect. And its primary job? Protection. It specifically acts as a cushion to protect the pubic bone that sits just behind it. When you're mapping this out in your mind during a test, always start at the very top with this protective, fatty pad. Moving inferiorly, or, just below it, we hit the clitoral hood. This is exactly how you want to memorize it spatially. First, the mons pubis, and right below it, the clitoral hood. As the name obviously suggests, this structure serves to cover and protect the clitoris. And tucked right beneath that hood is the clitoris itself. Now, this is a highly sensitive organ, and its primary role is being responsible for sexual sensation. For your revision notes, make absolutely sure you clearly categorize these structures by their function. So while the mons pubis we just looked at is protective, the clitoris is distinctly sensory.
Okay, Section 3, folds and openings, looking at our protective shields.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide, and super crucial for your exams, is keeping these fold structures straight. The labia majora are the outer skin folds. Think major for the larger outermost layer. In contrast, the labia minora are the inner folds. Pausing to contrast these two side by side right now is going to save you from some really common exam confusion later on.
So what do these folds actually do down there? Well, both the labia majora and minora work together as a team to protect the openings of the urinary and reproductive tracts. They basically act as anatomical bodyguards. Understanding this critical protective function is crucial before we zoom in and look closer at the exact openings they are guarding. And here are those specific openings. First up, we have the urethral orifice, which is where urine leaves the body. Continuing downward, located just below it, is the vaginal orifice, which is the entrance to the vagina. You absolutely must remember this order for the test. The urethral opening is above, and the vaginal opening is just below it.
Now here's a pro tip for consolidating your notes. Let's tie those two openings together. The entire area containing both the urethral and vaginal openings has its own specific, highly testable medical term. It's called the vestibule. This is just such an elegant way to clean up your notes. Instead of listing the openings separately every single time, you can refer to the vestibule as the collective anatomical region that houses them both. Reaching the inferior end, the absolute bottom of our map, we find the perineum. This is the region located directly between the vaginal opening and the anus. But beyond just being a geographical landmark on our anatomical map, the perineum actually plays a vital role by providing really important support to the entire pelvic floor. Finally, Section 4, functions and support, examining those core roles.
So the crucial point is really this high-yield summary right here. To tie it all together, the structures of the vulva perform these core functions. They protect the reproductive organs, they support normal urinary function, and they play important roles in both sensation and lubrication. This bulleted list, it's exactly what you need for that final quick revision before walking into the test room.
As our source material perfectly puts it, save this for quick revision, share it with your classmates, and follow Pharma Atlas for high-yield medical notes. Honestly, I highly encourage you to utilize this highly structured map every single time you sit down to study this topic. It makes a world of difference.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, navigating logically from top to bottom. So now that you have this perfect spatial map of the vulva locked in, how will recognizing these distinct protective and sensory structures improve your anatomy exam performance? Just think about how categorizing by structure and function is going to instantly clarify your answers. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay focused and happy studying.